We're live right now, and I think we are. Dr. Kennard here, bigzebra.com. We're talking about critters. We're talking about the countries. Now, the thing is, critters here in the city, when we're talking about trash collection, we got to
Mhm.
worry about rats. Got to worry about rats. My 16-year-old,
Rats, yes.
yeah, my 16-year-old daughter went out to dump the trash one night, opened up the barrel. What was there? There was just a rat, and like a good sized rat, like a good sized rat, hanging out at the very top of the pile of trash within the trash barrel. So now we have a system of
Mhm.
kicking the barrel first to alert the rats
Rat alert.
to exactly. You got to rattle. So yeah. So now we kick the trash can, and I do it whenever. It doesn't matter what time of day it is. It could be nighttime, could be during the morning or the afternoon, but I always kick the trash barrel just in case there are rats there, so that they can, I don't know, do their rat thing, because I don't want to be surprised by a rat, and I don't think a rat wants to be surprised by me either.
No, they don't even like surprise parties.
They don't. That's how evil they are. What's up?
A friend of mine wrote a book on the rat,
Oh,
and
really?
yes, he was a very good friend. And then I became that sort of friend he only called when he needed help moving.
Oh,
But
really? Yeah,
yeah,
dude.
it was sad. I was downgraded, but I've learned to live with it. We're just Facebook friends now.
Downgrading friends. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that's life. I miss him, but you know, Facebook messages aside, that's about it.
Yeah.
Sorry, bad topic. There was something I really wanted your opinion on,
Oh, shoot.
and wanted to see what you think. Like some guy, like John Waters, you said, told an Asperger's joke that he
Yeah.
thought was really funny, and the rest of the people groaned.
Yes.
But the Onion, their video team,
Hmm.
they did about three or four brilliant videos with an Asperger's reporter that
Right.
just make me howl with laughter.
Yeah.
And it sort of raises the question: is it, if a lot of people find it funny to make to have an Asperger's like character,
Yeah.
is that wrong?
Well, I'll have to, because I've given some thought about this. I was reading through a
Yeah.
chapter in Jerry Lewis's book, because Jerry Lewis gave a series of lectures over, I think it was UCLA back in the day, and
Mm.
about filmmaking. Because you may not like Jerry Lewis's humor, but the man was a professional, and you can argue that
Yes.
he was a genius too in what he did. So he was talking about an example of a basic principle in comedy. I know everyone's eyes are going to glaze over, right? Because we're talking about, what makes something
Y-
funny. But
Yes, but it's important analysis all the same to anyone who cares.
so he pointed out that if he wore an everyday, everyday clothes, and if he took a pratfall on stage, he'd have to get up immediately and do the next joke, right?
Mm.
However, if he was in a tuxedo and he took the same fall, then he could be on the floor for a minute because people would just be laughing,
Yes.
right? So it's basically, it's the dynamic that a lot of audiences like to see people in power, take a fall, right? And then he went on to say that comedy is all about, and it's basically punching up versus punching down,
Mm.
and I don't even know if they called it that when Jerry Lewis was writing this back in the 60s. But he was like, and I'm going to paraphrase it with that: you don't make fun of the damned, right? You don't make fun of people who are suffering. You don't punch down, and that's what Jerry
Mm.
Lewis was saying. So there is a difference. So I'm going to say two different. I'm going to make two different points. One is that there's difference if there is a person who is like, who might have Asperger's and who is like saying the things, because let's face it, a lot of comedy is based on that kind of dynamic of saying things that you wouldn't
Yes.
normally say. And who better to do that than someone who might be on the spectrum, right? You see a lot of comedians, maybe me, myself, and I, a bit on the spectrum, and just saying things that
Mm.
the normies wouldn't normally say, wouldn't,
The normies. I like it.
right? So that's one type a way to play that. The way how John Waters was doing it was that he was shitting on her. He was taking a big fat rhetorical poo on Greta, and
Right.
it's like, well, that's wrong. That's that's just wrong. So I'm going to put a pin in that and then go over to kinds of societies and what different types of societies find funny. I'm going to say this is that Republican style humor is all about punching down. It's all about being, supporting whatever there is in power, whatever powers there are in society. It's about supporting them. And if a lot of Republican comedians are still probably crying silently about how they can't use the N word, right? If you're a white guy of a certain age, then you're really angry about woke culture because they took the N word away from you.
And they desperately need it, like Dog the Bounty Hunter. What would they do without that word?
Yeah. But I would say, like, for healthy societies with psychologically healthy audiences, they recognize that you shouldn't be making fun of people who are less advantaged than you.
Yes.
It's only when you go on Fox News and you listen to their crappy style of comedy that you realize, oh, that audience is primed to dislike minorities, dislike people who are weaker than they are, and it's all about keeping the power structure the same. And that's what I think that's what Republican comedy has. Yeah.
Well, I was thinking.
That was I hope I answered your question with that, and I think
Well, actually, you didn't, but I enjoyed the answer all the same.
Okay.
It was interesting. And I'm not joking about your answer. I thought it was interesting. There is, in the case of the Asperger's reporter, the humor comes from the normies, as you say.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Being freaked out and not understanding this guy.
Sure.
For example, he's on scene where there are some people who've been lost in a forest, and all these human beings are running around trying to find them. But he says, "Why are you looking for these dead hikers? We know they have to be dead because the temperature has dropped below such and such on 4 consecutive nights."
Well, that's the fool. And by the way, good morning, John Hudson.
Good morning.
Hi, John Hudson.
The fool, if you look at, like, Shakespeare, the fool's job in court was to tell the truth that nobody else would want to tell, right? So, that's definitely playing off that trope. That's definitely playing off that mission of the fool is to say the words, the true words that nobody wants to hear.
Right. And then maybe it was his role.
Yes. John Hudson.
It's a softer delivery with comedy.
Dr. Tom Foolery's here. Dr. Tom Foolery, you're awake, sir.
Yeah,
how did that happen?
It happens sometimes.
Yeah.
No, excellent. Glad to see that you're here. Everyone loves the hoodie, John. I was going to say the hoodie's pretty awesome.
I've got the matching shorts on today too.
Is that a tie-dye hoodie? Is that a tie-dye hoodie, John Hudson? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, very nice.
Okay, no need to show off the belly. We know you have a magnificent gut.
Wow.
Yeah.
I turned it to the Buddha.
Yeah.
An imperial belly, my friend. That's what that is.
Well, you don't want to see mine, that's for sure.
Oh wow, the way these kids feed me, son of a bitch.
Well, supposedly the average person here in the States puts on 5 pounds during the holiday season. That's what my doctor told me years ago. Yeah.
Did they keep it on?
Some of us do, John Hudson. Some of us do.
I keep that 5 pounds all year because I'm dedicated.
Mr. Hudson is a fashionista today. Yes.
Hi there, black female atheist. Good to see you.
Hi, Jenna. Yeah, there's been some interesting content on the YouTube this weekend.
Oh yeah, what have you been looking at, John?
I caught a Oz's show the other night, and then Rage's show last night. Fuck.
That was about Smoky Saint, right?
Oh yeah. Those
Yeah,
are all
what's
sweet.
his deal, Smokey Saint? Because he often seems to be complaining about other people who have their own religious ideas. Not in a like he'll dismantle Calvinism or something. I don't know.
Well, let's not forget that Christians love attacking other Christians. You don't even have to be in Northern Ireland to know this. The reason why the Council of Nicaea, 323 or something like that, the reason why Constantine's, convened the council is because Christians were physically attacking other Christians and mucking things up over theological matters. And so hearing that Smoky Saint is out there attacking other Christians, that's more the rule than the exception, to tell you the truth.
I'd
Mm.
never heard of the kid before that. I just
Toxic guy, Smoky Saint.
yeah, all the whole thing was toxic. They're beating up on this little philosopher guy that was just sharper than a rock. I mean, sharper than Danny. Anyhow, kid had he was brilliant. His arguments and such, and then they just raid him and 8 other guys trying to gang fuck him. It was.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Rage held up good. Danny was fucking slaying and filleting them, as far as I thought. But yeah,
Well,
it's been an exciting weekend. The stunt park was pretty fucking cool. When
you went to
well, we did a photo shoot. We got paid to go do some photo shoots. They had got dinner, free beer, paid, and fireworks show. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, and I got my Christmas cards done too there.
Good for you.
My daughter, the floating van, had the grandkids out there with me, and it looked like we're running away from the van with guns in our hands, and it
I saw that,
explodes.
dude. I saw that, Chris. I saw that.
It was
That's nice.
fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, especially getting paid to do that shit. And
What about for atheists? Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize to everyone. I always do this. John Hudson is making a point, and I detect a lull, and then I start talking at exact same time
Right.
as someone else is. I'm going to shut up now. Go for it, John Hudson.
And then yesterday we went down to New Braunfeld a photo shoot, and coming out of the Buc-ee's, meet this guy with these cool fucking dogs. I can't remember what this called, but we're going to do a photo shoot for them to go do
nice.
shoot pictures of dogs.
You're gonna
And
be doing
I
that
was
for-
telling Phoenix, maybe we become dog photographers too. I mean, people put their kind of money into that, And she's like, well, back in Salt Lake, Dad, if you remember, I did have a bunch of Christmas cards I was doing for people doing pictures with their dogs. So it's this photography thing's blowing up. And I always shot film, and I'm going to probably go back to shooting film because I guess there's a market for it. I didn't know that, but my baby, she's on top of things. She knows things. And it's like, you should shoot film, Dad, again, because you can charge a lot of fucking money for it.
I wanted to say that, John Hudson, I have an artist friend, and apparently this is common among artists, that people want to pay them to make cute pencil drawings of their pets. And artists kind of find it a bit infuriating, but they need the money, so they're always drawing. And she, as an artist, started commissioning works about her dog that were abstract and weird, and it was a wonderful thing. So,
the blue dog paintings. I think it's an Austin artist that does them. The blue dogs, and I mean they sell for multi-thousands.
okay.
Get an original one. It's like Banksy's graffiti.
Yes.
If I would have known Banksy's graffiti was worth money back in the 2002 Olympics, he was tagging shit all over up in Park City. I would have been taking bricks off walls.
Nice.
Cutting down telephone poles and street lights. Because that shit's worth some bank.
I thank you, D. That's very kind.
D is sweet.
Yeah.
Very nice lady.
Indeed, indeed. I did a lot of work. I did a lot of stuff, and I actually
You're
got
always
today.
working.
I am, dude. I'm always like punching shit out. That's what I am.
Hey, you got that meeting at 4 o'clock today.
I have actually three things I have to do today. I'm meeting up with my buddy Dennis to talk about the new podcast or the potentially new podcast for Only Sky. 4 p.m. meeting up about with your person there, John Hudson, and then at 7 p.m. Jack Maturko and I are getting together, and we're going to do some YouTube stuff. I don't know what we're doing. I think we just might be talking. It might be live. I don't even know. But and for those of you who don't know, Jack is Satanist extraordinaire. He works over at this. He is a member of the Satanic Temple, and he also does their tech stuff for their virtual reality. I don't even know what it is, metaverse mansion. So I'm doing something with Jack today at 7. So it's a busy day for me. And then I'm going to try to also get a handle on the Only Sky stuff, the new site. I'm going to be plugging that. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry. But so I have to get
Well,
that.
it's okay to do a little self-promotion, man. Give yourself
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. By the way, that black jacket looks really good on you there, Doctor.
Why, thank you, sir. I have
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, it just sort of
It's
suits you.
the layers. The layers.
That's right.
It's very dapper.
Well, that's what I'm all about. Actually, I came up with this funny bit. I can't tell you what the bit is because the girlfriend and I are going to be filming it later on today. Hopefully, we get our ducks in a row, and it's just a shitty joke, and with a good punchline. Actually, two punchlines, and so we're gonna do that later on today too. So I'm pretty excited. Oh, and Jason Fox from Dragons and Genesis. We recorded a bit yesterday too, so I just have to edit it basically. I was going to try to edit it over the weekend. I wasn't able to, so it'll be another one of those minute shorts that will show.
Well, it's like Phoenix was saying, your fucking path could what you write on that done as like a news report.
Oh yeah,
would be a TikTok that would take off, and you're doing it every day anyways.
Well, that's a good point, John Hudson. Yeah.
And well, that's where we get a lot of our jobs for filming. Is what she's done on TikTok. She went from like 20 people to 20,000 people, and in like a 3-month period.
That's impressive, dude. That is impressive. To blow up like that.
She is fucking ace marketer. I mean, she worked in the headhunting business. Finding help for places, recruiting.
Yeah.
And, about 7 years ago, she got into that and did shit for neonatal surgery or whatever, and finding really specialized people. And now
I have to object because I don't think babies, even neonatal babies, should be performing surgery. They don't have defined motor skills. They don't, they've never been to school, not even kindergarten. It's fucked up, man.
My grandbabies are pretty fucking sharp. I'd let them operate on me before I'd operate on myself.
Well, you might be right on that, John.
No, but she started out in that business about 7 years ago, and now she just is up there, and she doesn't recruit people; she trains them.
Oh, nice.
On it, and these are the people that are bringing in for Google and Samsung and a lot of the big tech companies. And so she's finding the best. Got the best people to recruit the best people for the best people.
So John, I have to ask you. Anyone who knows you knows that you have a big personality, right? Personality fills room. Is your daughter the same way?
My daughter. Yeah, but she's more level-headed. She's not radical like her dad.
Right.
Yeah, she is fucking huge personality. She's everybody loves her because she's lovable. She wants to help people. She's just genuine, loves to see people succeed.
Oh, that's great.
And I mean, that's what she does with her job too. Really, is these people that she's training. She wants them to, predicate your success upon the success of others is, was one of Getty's rules of,
Yeah.
so.
One of the things that I have been trying to do, and even though I just come off as a curmudgeon and a misanthrope, as we're moving to only Sky, I have been actively trying to help out the people who have always been around here. My comedian friends, my podcasting buddies, into getting spots on only Sky. To help, spread out the wealth, so to speak. Yeah,
Cool.
Theo, this is interesting. Have you heard of Wanksy drawing penises over potholes in Manchester so they get fixed? I love it.
Wow, that is brilliant.
I love the. I love it.
Wanksy.
What are wrong with the potholes in Manchester? Potholes in Manchester.
Obviously, just having potholes.
What is right with potholes anywhere?
Maybe they should be drawing vaginas over them since there are holes.
I understand what you're going with there, but I think penises. Yes. Yeah. I think yeah.
You got a point. The Romans used to think of them as good luck, so you would have not just penises outside brothels, but penis charms like wind chimes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I did not know.
I don't know if it worked though.
That I'm gonna have to make me a penis fucking wind chime.
You have to make a gaggle of them, I think, John Hudson.
Yeah.
And they would sell like wildfire.
Oh yeah, people would be hanging them off of their fucking truck, training their heads. Look, I don't got just balls, I got penis too.
The only thing you have to do is post up at a Buc-ee's with your penis wind chimes, and people would be like, you know what? I got to get some of those.
I was on a first date 2 or 3 years ago, and it was strange because she wanted me to come to her house. And when I got there, this has to do with penises, by the way.
Okay.
And when I got there, there was a chaperone, so to speak, someone there to make sure everything was safe. Because normally you meet in a public place, not at someone's house.
Right.
So there I am, and there's this. Oh, and I said, "Oh, she's a chaperone." Ha 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 ha. And after we had been talking for a while, I mentioned that one of her neighbors had this statue at the front of their driveway that was a black guy in equestrian gear holding one of those hoops. You know that trope?
Oh, yeah.
You have he's like a horse person.
Oh yeah, that's what.
And it's kind of racist, especially if the guy's black.
I think it's okay to call it fucking racist, to tell you the truth.
Yes, and I said that what I thought should be done is to get a lovely pink ribbon, attach it to the hoop, and have a really big sex toy dangling from it, and just leave it there. Take some pictures of it, and it would really send a message to whoever owned it what we think of it, instead of just destroying it.
Sure.
Hey, a penis wind chime order right there, Mr. Hudson.
You got one right there, John Hudson.
Anyway, needless to say, I didn't get a second or third date out of that one.
No.
Because I'm stupid as fuck.
Well, I usually, it's funny. I was just out drinking. Well, I only had 2 beers yesterday because I had to be functional. So I'm out with a few of my friends in a very safe environment. We're out at a pub. They had to show vaccination cards and everything. And I was talking about my right foot that's 2 sizes smaller than my left foot. And my girlfriend turns to me and it's like, we've been dating for like 3 years. And she goes, I don't think you told me that it was 2 sizes too small. Why am I just hearing about this now? No, this is not even my weird feet. It's not even like third date conversational topic. I hold that shit back. Like, if I started telling you how weird my body is, that you would start looking at me differently. You'd be like, wow, it really is weird.
Good thing you didn't tell her about the testicles.
Oh, exactly, dude. You can't. Yeah. Let's not. I go to the grave with that stuff right there.
Stalin had some weird things. He He had a club foot, and one of his arms was distinctly shorter than one of the others.
Well, he had an accident, and I think it was during the days that he was in he was in seminary because he was training to be a priest. And
Yes.
the funny thing about this guy, Stalin, is that he was always a motherfucker. Um, he was always out getting into fights while he was in the monastery. So he was out roughing it up in town. And he was a poet, too. He actually wrote some poetry while he was in seminary. And that's how he messed up his arm. I believe it was just a regular. It wasn't because of a fight. It was just because of an accident. And so that caused. I think I don't remember which arm of his became disabled.
That one is usually pictured in a pocket or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or on his hip.
Yeah.
How did Stalin hurt his arm?
I think he might have just fallen off a horse, or I think maybe a carriage fell on him. That's off the top of my head. It's been a while.
It was when he was 12, after being hit by something called a phaeton. I don't know what that is. Yeah, maybe it's a type of horse. I'm looking that up too.
Yeah. Look that up.
I mean, what's Google for?
Well, obviously to check out how Joseph Stalin messed up his arm, or had his arm messed up. Yeah.
Well, I heard somewhere that Hitler only had one testicle. It might have been just in a movie that they was making fun of him. But
right. Yeah.
To separate reality from fantasy is very fucking hard for me anymore.
A phaeton is a type of carriage.
Okay, so it was a carriage incident. That's what I thought. I thought it was some kind of carriage incident. Yeah. The funny thing,
sorry, go ahead.
Random Stalin knowledge. He also knocked off a bank when he was, much older, when he was a full-blown, Bolshevik communist. And the thing is that they stole all this money, but then because it was in a form that they couldn't get rid of, so he got away with all, and it was an intricate plan too. They stole all this cash, bank notes, but it turned out that they couldn't get rid of the bank notes for cash because they were just bank notes. I'm not really too aware. I'm not really too knowledgeable about Tsarist Russia's money supply, but I guess the bank notes that he couldn't get rid of, and so they just used them for kindling, just to keep themselves warm at night.
I wanted to ask if my American friends here have heard something that's big in the Canadian news. I just want to see if anything trickles down. The Build Back Better Act has this big cash incentive for electric vehicles, but Canada has a huge market of building them for the U.S. So the incentive only applies to vehicles that's built in the U.S. So it's basically like a trade war against.
Well, has
that been in the news at all, or?
Well, it's in the background. American people here in the States can only handle maybe one or two major news items at one time, and even that's kind of rough, right? So, I don't want to get too much into the economics, but there's a fair amount of protectionism with Joe Biden's economic policies. Less about so you have situations like that where it's like you get perks if you buy American. I think he actually the name of the plan is something like Buy Back American or something like that.
Oh, okay.
It's
just for us. It's always kind of weird because hey, don't we have a trade agreement with you guys? What are you doing? But we don't have a sufficient pull to necessarily get it sorted out. The thing with Trump and aluminum and steel took months and months.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Is that what happens? Is that the president or Congress they'll do a thing, they'll pass an act or trade related law, and it makes big news. It helps them politically. And then maybe months later, the thing gets rescinded because it's fucking illegal. But no one knows about that. No one hears about that. They get their political points. It eventually gets rescinded. Well, it's like the conservatives are really good about it. The conservatives are quote unquote good in the fact that they run their mouths. They say loud things. They fight battles that they know they're going to lose. And then, but it keeps their base. They get political points and they win elections because of it.
Mm. Interesting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a chance to look at that new Ford Bronco up close.
Oh, how is it?
Oh, fucking sexy. But I'm afraid of buying one till they kind of get the bugs worked out of them. I just anytime a new vehicle comes around, I bought that Power Stroke when it first came out, and oh my god, it was powerhouse motor and everything. But I put two transmissions in it at the tune of about $6,000
Ouch.
per transmission. I had to put two of them in under 100,000 miles.
Dude, that's great. Now, is it because you don't know how to clutch properly, or that's not right?
No, it was an automatic.
It was an automatic, and you had to
It was
change
an automatic.
That sounds
Yeah,
like it.
there was just too much motor for that transmission. They worked that out, but it took them a couple years. And that was the last time I bought a brand new one. That was in '96.
Yeah, it's one thing if they're just changing the trim a little bit and calling it new. But when it's an entirely new design or new engine or something, new powertrain, that's a different story.
In general, and this is just because I'm frugal, cheap. Buying anything, any new model, any new tech that comes out, I like to wait and see about the bugs in the system.
Right.
Yeah, let the early adopters figure all the details out.
Yeah. That's how I look at it.
My truck I have is a 77, and it has only 72,000 original miles on it.
Oh, that's nice. And you know what? People may not know this, but that's 1877 too. Very early model.
The truck doesn't get drove. It's up in the garage.
That's nice, dude.
You put there's fucking $12,000 into the motor. The drive lines are chromed, and the paint job's like shit anymore. But just because it's old, but the interior looks brand new. It's about 600 horsepower. It's scary to drive. That's one of the reasons I haven't sold it yet is because it's like, friends have wanted to buy it.
Yeah.
I just don't want a friend to die.
Right.
Yeah.
So here you want to sell it to an enemy then.
Or somebody I don't know anyways,
Yeah.
And I've got that in the sports car, and they're fun for me and Jack, but we've got another grandbaby now. So I need to get something that I can put at least three of us in there.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I can see that.
But the grandson's a little fucking heathen. He's all about it. I got him a 4-wheeler and stuff, and he's an animal on it.
Good.
Kind of like his grandpa. So when this Only Sky,
Yes.
Is it out already?
It is officially soft launching tomorrow. That means if you have a link, you can check it out. So I'll post it in the community tab, and I'll probably throw it on the show tomorrow.
You have our email addresses. We signed up. You can just send us an email.
Yeah, well, you guys will probably get an email then. If you sign
Okay.
up for the guy, you'll probably get an email saying, "Hey, this is the thing that we're doing right now, and check this shit out." So So right now is that making a big push in terms of content, in terms of producing more stuff on YouTube, and like I said, getting a podcast up and running. Hopefully, if we get everything under control. So I'm working about 27 hours a week right now for my day job, and I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that while I focus on, because I've been able to squeeze. You notice how I've been able to squeeze a little bit of money from the internet without having to squeeze my fans here on YouTube about it. I have other ways of squeezing money out of the internet. So so that's
Well, it sounds great, and so you'll have a combination of blogs, video content.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
yeah.
So on your laughing on disbelief, on the posts that are on there, it will say something on the top is like from Amazon or whatever. So
Okay.
do they pay you out on that? Very good. Fucking
Yeah.
A.
Yeah. A little bit. A little
Yeah.
bit.
Well, you know what? Add them pennies up, and that's
John Hudson. That's all I do is add pennies up. That's all I do.
well, they grow.
Oh
They
yeah.
grow,
Yeah.
especially
They
as
do.
you grow. You know.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I think it was Albert Einstein who said that the most powerful force in the universe is compound interest. You know, I mean, once, and I try to tell my kids that too. It's like the best thing you can do, especially my 19-year-old, who is, young guy, is just start just tossing money into an S&P 500 fund, like a Vanguard S&P 500 fund. And I don't talk a lot about money because I think politics and religion are far more important to talk about on this channel. But
Mhm.
yeah, the S&P 500, you will double your money every 7 years approximately. So you put in $10,000 in 7 years, it'll be $20,000, and it goes up like that. And when you're young, you can actually get a fair amount of money out of it without putting a whole lot of money in. But that's the power of timelines right there.
Well, I made a couple bucks on Amazon. I bought it because my friends were all doing the book on tape stuff back in the '90s, and I'm like, well, check this out, and I bought a few shares of that and made a couple bucks. But when I retired, I cashed out on everything. I don't have no investments. I've got a couple coffee cans buried.
Yeah. You're talking about the coffee cans. That's good. You should always have, by the way, I mean, I'm a firm advocate of mattress money, in case, not all of your money should be in mattress money, but you should have some cash. You should have some cash if you have it, if you're capable of having it.
Well,
you should have cash not only on your person, but in your person. And that's what Papillon taught us.
You should. So you're saying I should be able to shit out money? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah, I mean, who's going to kill that golden goose?
Yeah.
Okay, that was awful. I apologize.
Okay.
Part of my retirement was I wanted to live a minimalist kind of life. I mean, I live on a big estate, but my quarters are meager.
Yeah. If I'm ever the girlfriend and I have been talking about, what does our life look like in maybe 2 years or so when my youngest is out of high school. And there's a possibility that we just become like nomads for a few years and just drive around. If I can make the money that I can, off the internet, and I can just, do some, and hopefully the virus will be under control at that point in a real way. Then we can just travel around the country and bother all you people.
Where's Dr. Tom? He's been so quiet.
I've got RV hookups out back, Andy.
Nice. Thank you, John Hudson. Noted, sir. You're on the list. You didn't know already, but you're on the list. Dr. Tom Cooley is always the sage, wise person who waits until I say something really stupid, and then
he's brilliant.
Yeah. I don't always wait.
You don't always wait. That's right. You don't always wait. Dr. Kennard, nothing but trouble over here. The one thing I have to do on Only Sky is that I'm blogging under my real name, Andrew Hall, as against going with Laughing in Disbelief. They wanted us to use our names. So after, I branded everything Laughing in Disbelief. Now it's just just Andrew Hall. So there we go.
I think it's a good name, though, Andrew Hall.
It's a good comedy name. Andy Hall. Andy Hall is a good comedy name. Andrew Hall is my adult name when I, at work or when I do some writing, like some more serious writing, it's Andrew Hall. If I go up on stage, it'll be Andy Hall. because it's just
Yeah.
easier.
And it's something that, sticks to your head too, though, know.
Yeah, I tried fuck you, but it didn't work out that well.
I once was inspired by comedian Sarah Silverman
Oh yeah,
to
she's
tell a
brilliant.
Holocaust. Oh yeah, and I told a Holocaust joke in a wedding speech, and it went over fairly well. I was quite surprised. It wasn't anti-Semitic, but it does that Sarah Silverman thing where you makes you think that something anti-Semitic is coming, but it
Mhm.
doesn't. And
Have you tried?
so I'd recommend it to a friend.
Have you tried that joke at a bat mitzvah?
No, no, but they don't admit to those of sorts of events.
King, that might just be acting my own age, to tell you the truth.
Geriatric.
Mhm.
I've always thought that go be a gypsy for a while would be,
I am.
because I do love a fucking great road trip, but
Yeah.
I haven't done one since it was 2 years ago, right before the COVID.
Yeah,
And I ended up going through 6 states and was gone for about 10 days.
that's nice.
And even my venture into Vegas, I walked out of there with about $13,000, and fuck yeah, on to California. Got friends there,
Sure.
It was good. It was good, but I just haven't felt the flavor to do it. I've been tired too since I got the COVID. It's like
You were saying that, John. Yeah, you said that a couple of times, brother.
I don't think I could drive for 12, 14 hours without, pulling over for 2-3
John,
naps.
when you say you're tired, I just imagine that you have the same energy level as I do now. You're saying I can't drive 12 or 14 hours like I used to, and I'm like, I don't know, man. That'd be tough for me.
Well, I actually did when the kids had a wedding due in Frisco, and it was last year during that shit storm that we had here in Texas,
Mm-hmm.
and Austin Bergstrom Airport was shut down, and so was San Antonio. But they had flights going out of Dallas Fort Worth, which is about 6-7 hours from here. And I drove them in that shit storm to get them on the plane, and then drove immediately back. So I guess I could. It was some white knuckle fucking shit driving. First of all, people don't know how to drive on slippery roads here in Texas. They've never been exposed to them, for the most part. And I grew up in Utah, which shit, I was up at ski resorts all the time, and I'm used to driving in snow. I've drove in a lot of fucking snow, and I felt pretty secure, except for saw a couple people. Well, diesel come flying by me, and then I'm coming up the road, and it's ice, and there's like fucking 12 diesels off the side of the road.
Yeah,
and it's just
you get driving in the snow allows you to get a real world appreciation for Newton's laws of motion. It's about
mass equals force. Yeah,
it's about inertia in realizing that if you're at a stoplight and then you have to go up a hill and it's icy, then you're fucked.
You got to keep them tires going.
Yeah, you got to keep moving. Yeah.
It was heavy snow here this weekend, and when I was out shoveling the sidewalk, there was a van that kept on getting stuck in the snowbank on the side of the road, and I was like, that person had no clue how to drive, because they get stuck in the snow on the snowbank, try shoveling themselves out, then they go like 50 feet and suddenly they're in the snowbank again. And I was like, they're not from here, are they?
Right. Yeah.
Well, there was just a little patch of ice when Texas froze out, like pulling out of a store or something. So everybody's doing that, and I go to the one people that just spinning. I'm like, hand me your fucking floor mats. They're like, what? I'm like, hand me your fucking floor mats. They pull them off. I throw them underneath the tire. They got off that icy spot and get back their fucking floor mats.
I was talking to my boss the other day at work because I do a lot of driving, and I said, I just checked out the car that I usually drive, and two things that you could use. One is a little collapsible shovel, and another is a
Mm.
can of sand. You get a can of sand or a big sack of
Yeah.
sand.
Or cat litter.
Yeah, or
Cat
something.
litter.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because I don't
Not
want
actual cat poop. You need the litter.
Yes, yes. I don't think the cat poop would really supply the surface.
No,
Might make
you need to squeeze them really hard, and they're never the same afterwards.
Right, right, right.
Dr. Thomas from Minnesota.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. How's
Minnesota.
I know that you were talking about maybe volunteering for a political person there, a campaign that's coming up. Did that turn out to be anything?
Well, I met with local state senator last week. Had a chat with them. Technically, I think I'm their precinct captain for my precinct now, I guess.
No, nice.
But
Does that-
there's also the fact that I'm the precinct chair for the party here, and probably every other position because the only other person who ever showed up to caucuses moved out.
Oh,
Mm.
So I'm kind of the only person active in the party in this precinct.
mm, mm. So that means you have even though you have like insane powers over your precinct, those powers are very, you have like, you might have like supreme powers, but those powers in and of themselves are very small.
Yeah. Yeah, talk to them about various issues and stuff, and tell them if during the redistricting that's happening, open seat appears above me, maybe I would run for the open seat, but I'm not going to challenge anyone right now. The people in the area are like fairly progressive already, and
Right.
the Democrats win with 80% of the votes, so there's like they don't have to worry about appealing to conservatives, so they can
Yeah.
just be progressive kind of thing. So
Right.
it's like I don't necessarily have to challenge them. But I'm like, during redistricting, things are going to shift around. If an open seat shows up, maybe I'll throw my hat in the ring. Stuff like that.
That's that is intriguing. You'd be a boss. That's what you would do. You'd be one of those 19th century precinct bosses.
Yeah. Oh.
Theo, you're right. We do. When there is a lot of driving. I've heard that you could just drive 4 hours for a high school football game in Texas. That's what we hear. Those are the myths that we hear up in the Northeast about Texas.
The high school football stadiums are like college stadiums elsewhere.
Yeah, yeah,
They take their football goddamn seriously, and I don't think young people should be playing it.
Well, not the full contact stuff, dude.
My brother-in-law, he was a big goddamn kid, and he was a good football player, and he took a hit. Next thing you know, he's on fucking pain pills and shit. He's been in and out of fucking prison for 20 years now, just because it started out with that, and just dumb shit too. The high school football team in Granger, which was the city over from me back in Utah, goddamn high school kids had a robbery ring where they was going around fucking robbing all these convenience stores and shit. They caught the dumb shit. They were wearing their fucking football jerseys on the one robbery. That's how they got caught.
In my high school, which was a big football high school, they all these kids once went into the restaurant that was right next door and did a dine and dash, and they were all on the football team with those leather jackets and the numbers on them.
Yeah.
And say, hey, who's number 26? He did a dine and dash. They just walked into the principal's office and called them in. It
A,
was
Yeah,
really bloody stupid.
a big zebra.
yeah.
In Minnesota, it's hockey is pretty popular. Aren't you in Canada where hockey is popular too?
Yes, actually, we Canadians are amazed at Americans because we treat football, basketball, baseball as if it were hockey, and we don't understand. But but more power to you. You're America is filled with incredible sports enthusiasts. I can tell you that I was driving to Florida once, and I'm in this restaurant, and these two guys are talking. The conversation starts with NFL
Hmm.
to college football,
Yeah.
which to Canada, yes, colleges have football teams and they play each other, but no one gives a fuck.
Yeah.
And then it goes down all the way to high school football and high school baseball and how the teams are doing. And
Yeah.
like, I can't imagine anyone other than a parent giving a shit about high school baseball. But in the US, you really do. And I think that's great. And I think it's a great community builder, too.
Yeah.
Canada's filled with a lot of people who don't give a fuck about sports, except
Well,
maybe
from
for
what
hockey.
from what I understand, and once again, I'm going to reference Freakonomics, the
Mm,
book, and from what I understand about Canada, it is basically one armed camp. There was. Let me back up. There was a saying about Prussia, right?
yeah.
The country when it was still Prussia, when it was still a country. It was a. They said it was an army that had a country, right?
Mm,
As against to a country that had an army. So Canada, I believe, has a hockey team that has a country as against to has a hockey team because there seems to be such an infrastructure built around hockey from from a very early age up. That seems
yes.
to be invested a lot into that sport in ways that other countries, at least here in the states, we don't have a singular focus like that.
Mm.
Yeah, but it's impressive that you don't. Canada sort of threw all its eggs in one basket. We, of course, have football and baseball and whatnot, but
Mm.
the America being a powerhouse of sports activity. How many gold medals do you guys win a year win at the Olympics? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
only 300 million people.
That's all. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Not that I'm trying to suck up to the Americans.
It's always a bad idea.
You're sucking up. I can feel it from here. You're sucking so hard.
And
Well,
somehow,
Have I told you about how many bombs you drop?
what were we going to say, John?
well, just the small town Texas towns and their football. It's where everybody is on a Friday night. It is
Mm,
community. There's A to Z out there. They tailgate for the high school football teams. you know,
amazing.
the town I live in, Dripping Springs, it's about 7,000 people. 10 years ago, it was 1,500 people. It's growing, but
Dripping Springs. That is such a funny name for a town.
Yeah.
it's yeah, in Texas. It's Dripping Springs.
It
Dripping.
sounds like its whole prostate has started to shrink.
Thank you.
Actually, the Dripping Spring is down in the city, and the
Hmm.
spring comes out of the water, and there's right out of the ground. There's some little waterfalls there. It's really beautiful.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Mm.
Johnny Cash wrote a song about Dripping Springs.
I did not know that. I
Yes, he
did
did.
not know.
And well, the Nutty
Something about
Brown.
walking the line and to Dripping Springs.
I see what
Sorry, John Hudson.
you tried.
Yeah.
There's a concert place down here called Nutty Brown, and I mean everybody's played there. They're tearing it down. That's
Oh.
progress.
Yeah.
But they built a new one out here. It's called Dreamland, and
Hmm.
they've got miniature golf, pickleball,
Oh, fun.
splash pads, and a fucking fabulous bar.
That's good. You got to have those.
And
And so many places have four churches in on every corner, and they don't have a decent place to get a drink. So you got to hand it to a good bar.
The
Well,
name of the Johnny Cash song about Dripping Springs is appropriately named Down at Dripping Springs, in case anyone
Okay.
was interested.
Mm.
yeah, well, it's way cool here. I mean, there's, within a 20-mile radius, I bet you there's 50 distilleries, uh, 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 vineyards, everything. There's so much fucking alcohol around here. You would love it, Andy.
I'm sure I would, John. I don't
It's
know if
you
I
could,
would.
we could go do a wine crawl, and
No, yeah.
wouldn't even wear out our tennis shoes. Yeah.
Can I ask John Hudson a question about Texas? Because I'm kind of curious about something.
I'll answer it the best I can. I've been here for only 2 years.
Okay, okay. Well, for what it's worth, when I watch left-leaning news services, they always seem overly optimistic about any of their chances politically. So they say, well, Donald Trump is about to go down over this, and that was like 8 years ago, that sort of shit. And they often report on Texas as becoming bluer and bluer and bluer. And this time it's going to flip to Democratic. And
But
is there any truth?
in the Austin area, where I'm around Austin,
Mhm.
I'm going to say it's 70% blue or
Okay.
better
But the state
or
as a
better.
whole, if they were to vote for a governor, say, is it
Well,
hopeless?
it it it's right now because of who's running, and if O'Rourke wouldn't have ever said anything about guns, we
Mm,
wouldn't have Ted Cruz.
Yeah,
right.
We wouldn't have
yeah.
Ted Cruz. And I am pro gun. I'm pro gun control. Uh, 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 and but these people are pretty protective about their guns. And there's a lot of simple folk here too. That Austin is more educated, but you start getting out in rural Texas. I mean, I ended up in Albert, Texas, about a month ago in a
Hmm.
bar, and I was talking politics and religion,
Mm,
and uh, the guy who was singing, me and him got along. He was a big dude, and then the guy who uh, my butcher, I took him over a couple of deers. Uh, this gal, I know she has a ranch and they get harvest permits. So I had 2 tag deers, and I went over to the butcher and dropped them off, and he was at the bar. So I started getting people were when I was talking that I had a couple people, and then fucking John here's a good old boy. We like John. And
mm,
yeah, I ended up getting a shot spot for me, and I'm just like you're talking your left wing, you're talking your right wing. They're fucking attached to the same bird. The whole system is fucked, you
mm.
know. And so that I get away with it that way, just be saying that both sides do suck. The neoliberalism I'm not fucking hip on,
Yeah.
Mm.
and obviously against the fucking right wing,
Yeah.
uh, it's I don't know, but
I'll tell you, I think, with Dr. Ott, and, I have been an advocate of left-leaning celebrities running for public office for a long time, to tell you the truth. And it works well for the Republicans. I'm looking at you, Ronald Reagan, right? Ronald Reagan, no one thought, anyone who was acquainted with his acting career never thought he would become governor of California, much less president of the United States. Donald J. Trump. Dr. Oz is running for a seat in Pennsylvania as a Republican.
Mm.
Wouldn't be surprised if he wins.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Schwarzenegger as a Republican.
yeah.
The thing is about Democrats is that they don't want to fucking win. They don't want to fucking win. And, just push fucking Beto O'Rourke aside, tell him to sit the fuck down, and just have somebody who is popular. How the fuck is this? I'm just an idiot. I'm just a
Yeah.
fucking idiot. And it's like, how fucking difficult is it to just find someone fucking popular who can rock the mic that people like and just have them run? How fucking
The
difficult is that?
people loved Beto until he started fucking
Yeah.
coming after their guns.
Well, I have to tell you something too, is the fact that the way that he behaved during the presidential primaries is shows you that the man doesn't have it. I
No,
mean, he's still not quite over Abbott, but I don't think he's a favorite. I've seen the polls,
he's
and
not.
he is just not the golden boy people fucking hoped he would be.
Mm.
It's as fine as that, and that isn't because I lost money on Beto either in the last election cycle, which I did. I lost a little bit of money because I thought he would do better than he did, so I went on predicted.com and threw some money on Beto to at least get past a certain point, and he never did that. And he's not the guy. I don't think he's the guy.
I'm guaranteeing nobody put money on fucking Biden.
Mm.
No,
Not during the primaries. Goddamn, no.
I spent some time writing about how Biden would never become president of the United States, and that was before COVID, mind you. That was before the apocalypse. And if it wasn't for the apocalypse, man, I'll tell you, we'd be in the second fucking term of Donald J. Trump. Trump, I can't even fucking go in my fucking. Because we're already over an hour. Because I could talk about this forever.
Mm.
The only one that even appealed to me was Bernie.
Oh yeah, Bernie.
Yeah.
You know, and it's. I still think something was shitty about that whole election.
Well, you know the reason, and people don't understand. I guess I'm just gonna fucking keep talking. The reason people didn't understand why you could be a Bernie supporter and then switch over to Trump is that they are both disaffected people, right? They are disaffected people, and they wanted change. And the Democrats showed, at least in the election, that they were not the party that was really going to change things up a whole lot. Now that's changed since Biden gotten into office. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, it isn't the fact that Trump won. It isn't that the fact that Biden won that election in 2020. It's the fact that Trump lost it. It's the fact that the Republicans lost that election.
Yeah.
Okay. On that fucking happy note, everyone, same fucking thing tomorrow, 9 a.m. and then whatever we do here.
Shamala hamala.
Shamala.
Take care.
Thanks for the show. I had a great time.
Yeah. I always have fun.